Sonic Weekly. Sonic Weekly. You've made it to another episode of Sonic Weekly. That's the show. Hello, bro. It's time to go. Hello. All right, stop it. Settle down. Everybody, please. The standing ovation, not necessary. That was off of the top of my head. My name is Grant, one of your hosts of Team Sonic Weekly, show that's about Sonic the Hedgehog every 7 days or so. With me usually is Bo, but this time no Bo. We're a weekly show. Sometimes there's no Bo, and that's okay because
no Bo. Bogo?
Bogo. No slow.
Low on Bo.
We're low on Bo. That's faux show. But with the show, we have the star out of the shadows into the spotlight. Star of the show, David the Lurker.
Whoa, hi Grant. Hi. Well, not Bo. Right. But see, I think about Payless Shoe Source, right? They have BOGO. But I always get confused because it's buy one, get one, but it's not buy one, get one free. It's buy one, get one half off. And I feel like their advertising is clearly misrepresenting their deals. Also, I always think it's Payless Shoe Store.
Didn't Payless Shoe Source go out of business like 10 years ago?
Did they?
I believe they did.
They absolutely did. We have a 2-for-1 deal this week because we have two fantastic guests that are friends and have guested together before. And so they're returning to the show, Abby Denton and Michael Stearns. Hello, Abby. Hello, Michael.
We're a little out of breath because we just hopped on in giant comedy shoes, like the Karibo shoe from the beloved video game Sonic 3.
That's a surprising ab workout. It really takes it out of you.
David, with Payless, I think that they could have saved. They could have saved their business.
Selling Michael's gold. Come on.
They could have sustained their business with the just buy one get one, but no free, no half off. Just you can buy one and you can get one.
Yeah,
like buy one shoe
and then buy a second shoe.
Yeah,
buy
one pair of shoes,
multiple shoes.
Buy multiple shoes. Yeah, you don't have to only get one pair of shoes. Could be their selling point.
Well, the business model of most shoe stores is simply buy shoes.
Buy shoes, right? How many dedicated shoe stores are there?
What is it? WSS, I think, is the only one in LA now.
I thought it was DSW.
Oh, yeah, that's
designer shoe.
No, yeah, WSS is groceries or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
I used to have a friend. I still have a friend, but she used to work at one of the DSWs in Los Angeles, the one across from the IHOP. I don't know if it's still there.
Whoa.
Either the IHOP or the DSW.
I love IHOP.
I have never not regretted going to IHOP. Is it just LA IHOPs? Like, is there like a surcharge but they don't change the recipes, so you're just always cheated? Never not regretted. I always regret going to IHOP. I always do not regret my decision to stay away from not going away from IHOP.
Wow.
Let's go to Michael. Michael, your feelings on Abby's feelings on IHOP.
Oh, I hopped away from that question.
In your Karibo shoe.
Yeah, like Mario 3, a.k.a. Sonic 3, a.k.a. the Big Shoe Dance. Right. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Folks, Bo is not here, so we're already... it's already
off the rails.
Off the rails. Gosh, we're so naughty. Stop it.
Boeing. Wait, what is a good pun?
We're on a Boeing in the air, and it's made by Boeing. Oh no!
Right. Wait,
should we make up some Saturn discoveries on his behalf?
Oh right. Right, the International Space Station, right? The Boeing was supposed to take them back. They were stuck up there. Something about that. Well, we could just go to 32-bit
Rings of Saturn.
Rings of Saturn. We just go to Rings of Saturn. I'm going to go to Rings of Saturn right now.
While you're going to Rings of Saturn, we're going to front sell Gamer Mom, because this is a link that's in the description. This is something that the listener already knows about, so we're gonna deliver that information now. Abby Denton, I remember years ago being in a writing group. You had this little idea, this crazy notion of Gamer Mom, and now, tell us about where Gamer Mom is.
It's taken a lot longer in production than anticipated because everyone's got day jobs, and It's called Gamer Mom, the mom who games. It's on, you can find it on the Kickstarter. You can get a copy of it. I think quite affordably. Beautiful,
I hear it's
32-page comic. It's drawn by my friend Javi Martin Caba. It's incredible. We're getting a cover drawn by Grace Kraft, who's done Steven Universe, done stuff for Clone High, all kinds of very talented animator, very talented painter. Hand painted, watercolor painted cover.
My God.
Of these soccer moms having an epic sword fight. It basically, the premise is, what if Yu-Gi-Oh was a suburban mom and realized that playing trading card games is actually not like a skill that wins you any respect from your children. You'd think children would respect you for being able to play children's trading cards, but if you are an adult, they are aware that is a preposterous thing to spend your time on, and so she has to embark on a quest to dethrone the evil head of the school board. And there's a panel in there. We debated through the thumbnails, through everything. There's a panel where the school board mom and the gamer mom, that's their names in my head. They don't have real names, Agatha and Candida. I would say one of their legs is too far between the other one's legs in a threatening posture. She's trying to strangle Agatha. I would say I've gone back the other way in my opinion of whether that's just too explicit looking, and I suspect that might be why we couldn't find any agents who wanted to sell it to the middle grade demographic. But
well,
looking back on it, I'm very glad that panel is in it because it's hilarious.
Yeah, you don't compromise your artistic ambitions. That is for sure. Not for a buck and not for Gamer Mom.
These moms have sublimated their lesbian sexual desire into the competitive impulse, as indeed do most women.
Well put. I mean, I was looking for a short log line premise, and there you have it.
Yes, it's about a mom who games. That's the subtitle: Gamer Mom :
She's the mom who games.
Mom who games. Yes.
And it's a comic. Book.
It's a comic book. Yes, you can get a 10-page preview of the comic. See Javi's incredible art already. It's on itch.io. It's linked within the Kickstarter, so you can. It's probably going to be in the blurb under here, so you can read it, see if you like it. If you like it, you want to see more, check out the Kickstarter. You can get the whole thing for $1 digitally and read it. It's not done yet, but you'll get it digitally, assuming we fund, which who knows? Maybe I'll punish you all and we won't fund, just as my gesture of defiance.
Oh, well, let's not do that. Let's fund.
Yeah. We should. If you're all nice to me, maybe we'll fund it.
But, okay.
I funded. I don't believe in your enemy.
You could buy more copies if you wanted.
Right. Well, what happens if everyone's mean, but they still fund it? They're like, funding.
My mistake was to actually ask for all of the operating money that we need.
Oh.
Whereas I gather most people are like, well, I'll just take out a mortgage.
Yeah, the polite thing to do that I've seen that people really like is when you're like, here's the bare amount of money that we need to make this thing. And then you put a stretch goal in, like, I get to eat food.
I'm still not getting to eat food with this. Yeah. Like, this is everyone except me. And then if we go over, then I will get to eat food.
But you have to make it clear up front, exactly how humble and wretched you are. And that seems to be what people are really into these days.
I guess I always assume I just give off that vibe, Michael.
Yeah. Not, you can't assume anything with these people.
Fair. These people, the audience, can't trust them. That's the policy of our podcast. Can't trust them, right, Grant? Do you trust your audience?
I think there was somebody on my Kickstarter when I did one. There was somebody who left a comment who was like, this guy seems really humble. Oh. I'm going to back his Kickstarter. I'm going to give him the $10 that he's asking for.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, because you seemed humble. That's,
yeah. I think maybe what he was saying was, this guy does not know how to make a video.
That backer, the Great Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Do we trust the audience? That's a fair question, David. Do we trust the audience?
I trust 87% of our audience. So
I think we trust
That's
them
nice.
a whole lot to follow through lines or ignore them and just sort of hear the dulcet tones while you're washing dishes, which I think is another. We're somewhere in the ASMR category for like people who like annoying voices. Just me, but not you guys.
I have
you guys
some celery in the
beautiful
fridge. I
voices.
could loudly crunch it into the microphone if that helps the ASMR.
Oh, it doesn't. No.
What
Oh,
do
okay.
you put
I
anything?
don't know what ASMR is.
Do you put anything on the celery, or are you just straight up like raw celery?
I've always been a big fan of raw vegetables, and a lot of people they're like, "Oh, most people use salad dressing and multiple different vegetables," and I'm like, "No, I just want a big bag of carrots." I've only recently understood why.
Because you're Bugs Bunny.
Yes. Well, it turns out that that's an autism spectrum trait, but I don't know if that's the reason. It would be the only autism spectrum trait I have, but it's like tapas.
I like
you
carrots.
you pick and choose one or the other. Yeah, only that's
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
it's all a salad in my belly. It seems a waste to combine it beforehand.
Yeah.
And everything's a salad.
Everything's with the right attitude.
This is true. Did you say beer?
I did.
A beer salad. Oh,
just a
it
big
just
bowl
gets in there
of
with all the other stuff.
It's just
salad.
wet bread. It's wet bread.
I love.
It's a crouton.
It's basically you're basically at Olive Garden when you're drinking a beer.
So we're family.
I think so. And we all are family because of our mutual interest in Sonic the Hedgehog, the subject that brings us all together. Because this gamer mom probably plays Sonic. Abby plays Sonic. Abby has been on multiple Sonic shows, and we all have met talking about Sonic. However, there's not a lot of Sonic news, except for the Sonic news last week that we didn't super cover because we were so obsessed with the timeline. But David did mention it
right
a little bit last week. And then now I've read it. Michael's read it. And I don't know if Abby's read it, but I'm talking about DC X Sonic the Hedgehog, the crossover. And I guess we could talk about that. And Abby, why don't we keep it a mystery?
Yeah.
You don't tell us if you've read it or not, but we'll know by the end of the discussion one way or the other.
Here's what I'll tell you about why I'm excited for this bet. This challenge is I was once on a podcast where we talked for 2 hours about Evangelion, and my secret the whole time that I wasn't going to reveal until the end was that I've seen like the first 3 episodes of Eva, and then at the end I was going to be like, and it's so dominated our media landscape. Like I've seen so many people just talking about it that I can carry on a conversation about it. Without you even realizing it, and basically arguing that no one should watch Eva just because I think I had a bee in my bonnet that week. I don't know.
That's amazing. And
also
not surprising.
The host got mad at me and ended the recording slightly before I could reveal it.
Oh.
And then we stopped doing this podcast forever.
Did they get on to you then? Did they figure out that maybe you...
I don't think it was it. I think Now this is a dear friend of mine who had a rough time, but it now means I can never watch Eva because I have to find a place to do that at some point. I can no longer do it with you because I've revealed to you the truth. But how often am I going to get invited to talk about Eva specifically? I don't know.
One of the things that I love about you, Abby Denton, is when you begin an anecdote, I really don't know what I'm in store for. And I don't know emotionally how I'm going to be on the other side of it. It might be exuberant and very happy and like, or it might be like, wow, that's a sad thing. What a tragic fact of life.
Which one is that? I'm now curious.
That's somewhere in between of like, I think you were being, again, like a Bugs Bunny type of trickster that I think we all enjoy, but maybe...
Hence the carrot.
Yeah, hence the carrots.
A little downbeat like all the best episodes of Cheers.
Let's rank all the episodes of Cheers while we're here.
Oh, man. That's right. I stumbled across, because, Pluto TV has
Ooh.
a Cheers / Frasier 24-hour channel.
That's so good. Oh, Pluto's great. Pluto's great.
Yeah.
What is, okay, different members of the Cheers recurring cast mapped to Sonic characters?
Excellent question.
I think
Okay.
Harry the Hat.
Cheers X Sonic the Hedgehog.
Harry the Hat is
Okay.
Knack the Weasel because he's not usually there, but no one ever minds it when he does show up.
Okay.
And they both go by multiple different names.
Okay,
He's like a con man who shows up occasionally, played by Harry, what's his face? The Night Court guy. Harry Anderson, is that his name?
Yeah, Harry Anderson.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
That's
always
right.
get him confused with Harry Henderson from the beloved sitcom Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and
Absolutely.
I was just
Which
thinking
we
like
want to do. Okay,
the
Sam
Big
Maloney,
Berry
Sonic the
Show.
Hedgehog.
Of course.
Norm is big.
Ooh,
cat.
okay, yeah. He's finally getting his due. I respect it.
I think we're putting Big more center stage because I don't feel right. I think Woody is Tails.
I think Carla is. Oh yeah, Woody. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Woody's really stupid, and Tails is a genius.
So Carla never
that's-
leaves Sam's side. Carla is Tails, and Woody is Knuckles because he's, or maybe Coach. Like is there a Sonic character who
are
dies
these the
a
characters
lot? Dr.
cast
Gerald
as?
Robotnik.
Oh right.
Are these the characters cast as like their equivalents, or are they just acting?
I guess it's like an AU sort of a thing where they're
like right.
Wait,
Sonic
is this
owns
like a
the bar.
Muppets? Like Sonic is playing Cheers, or is it like DC X Sonic where the characters are
they
meeting?
meet. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Whoa. Well, then they would never be allowed in because none of them are 21 years of age.
No. Well, once again, DC X Batman, they figured this out by having it take place in the ambiguous world of Sonic's world. So
I had a lot of
what would
questions when I
what would
was
the
reading.
cast- Right.
I love the idea of the Cheers AU and Sega just sits down and they're like, it's just Pachacamac and Eggman. Everyone else is too young to go to a bar. Sorry, go on, Michael.
Right.
I had questions about Sonic and DC while I was reading that comic.
Uh-oh.
And I just got another one, which is, are there bars in Sunset City? And if so, who is old enough to go to them?
Great question.
Vanilla.
Vanilla the Rabbit is
She's
probably old enough.
I don't think right because she has a child and Cream is 6, so presumably Vanilla had to be a certain age in order to go through the birthing process.
Yeah.
Well, and she's so tall.
She is like she's the size of an average human mother, right?
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Can't forget that. Or human female. I forget the exact terminology, but right, Vanilla.
I think it was human mother.
It is human mother, right? Because everyone else, right? Because Big and Rouge, they're both 18, so they can buy. Well, I guess you can't. They changed that, right?
Vote. They can vote. They can buy
They can
cigarettes
buy alcohol in
some
the UK,
places.
and I think
some
the cursed UK Sonic, the verbally abusive British Sonic,
oh right,
is a good interpretation.
He's an alcoholic
for these. Yeah,
right.
I think he's driven Tails to drink.
Yeah.
Not a healthy
Probably.
friendship.
No. Okay, wait. And then who's left in? Oh well, Diane is got.
Like, is that Amy? Or is she not?
So there's that famous, it's a will they, won't they? They won't.
Right. And then,
Mhm.
But
so
wouldn't
then
the more
Amy-
modern take
Rebecca
be to have Carla be Amy because they're just friends?
Oh,
I like that. Carla's Amy. Sam is Sonic. These are who they're teaming up with. And again, if it's the Muppet scenario where the Sonic characters are playing Cheers in like a school assembly sort of talent show
I think
scenario in Sunset
Rouge matches
Park City.
Kirstie Alley perfectly because they're both morally questionable.
Yes.
right.
And they're very interested in jewels and money. Like that's their motivating factor.
Weren't they both in Look Who's Talking?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, so there's that famous line from the first time Sam and Diane kiss, where they're arguing, and then Sam's like, "Are you as turned on as I am right now?" More, and does anyone do a good Sonic the Hedgehog voice? And can you say, "Are you as turned on as I am right now, bud?"
You just did it. I think that is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I think we all probably could, let's not do it. Instead, let's actually talk about DC X Sonic.
What is DCX Sonic? Why did they make it?
Great
Who
question.
is this?
Who is?
It's for me and David for sure, because we are DC and Sonic fans.
That's true.
And it's for Michael maybe, and it's for you maybe. But Michael had questions, so maybe we can start there.
Well, do we want to talk about the story at all?
No.
Do we want to?
No.
Do we have? Can we talk about spoilers and things? Because
We absolutely can. Do we trust the audience has already read this?
I mean,
well, we can say
I don't think
spoilers,
that reading a summary would actually spoil anything about it, because I kind of felt that this was a story that didn't. This is kind of. It didn't really. It just kind of established what you already know, which is that Sonic and the DC universe have collided somehow, and that's kind of where they left it.
Yeah. Darkseid invades, and it opens with a boom tube and with.
Yeah. That was one of my questions. What is a boom tube exactly? Because Cyborg said they made one.
Well, you see, Michael, the new gods of Apocalypse and New Genesis live in a distant planet, a distant planetary system. And I don't think they've ever defined exactly how far, because that's the only way you can get there or back is via boom tube, which is produced by the Mother Box, which is not dissimilar to an iPhone. But you just get all of these great Jack Kirby godly creatures going like, "What does Mother Box say?" And it's like reading a caveman comic at times. And that's my favorite thing about the stuff that Jack Kirby added to DC.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I found really interesting about it. I was like, oh, this is good, because you've talked to me before about the influences on the Archie comic.
Oh yeah,
and how they are coming out of these kind of 70s era space Marvel and DC comics, and yet somehow when the Green Hill Zone or wherever they are, I saw some checkers. They when it gets invaded by these Goldar looking green armored winged guys,
parademons.
Parademons, yes.
I haven't even read the comic. Spoiler.
You spoil, yeah.
I looked them up because I was like, what are these guys? And I looked at the ones on pictures online, and I'm like, they don't look like Goldar, but the ones here really look like Goldar. And
now I want to read it. Goldar's great.
Yeah, he is.
Love that guy.
And but what it really reminded me of, so Darkseid's head in the form of this thing called Ragnarok, 2 words, a kind of death egg, if you will, has
that's some Jack Kirby bullshit right there.
Yeah. And the way that it comes in, it's like it feels very Sonic the Comic to me. It's like this feels like something that would have happened on Fleetway, and it also like really Zardoz like. I didn't see anybody making those connections online. I'm sure.
Well, there's a reason we've never seen Sonic's penis.
I guess so, but
it's evil.
I found those guns. I found those Sonic guns at the drugstore today.
GUN is good. Wait, the what?
I found they were little Nerf guns with Sonic branding on them. I saw them at the drugstore today, and this happened earlier. I was talking to Grant about them because it's like, when you think of a Sonic tie-in product, you think of guns.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't think of just like the logo.
Yeah. And a picture of Sonic and Shadow just sort of running.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it was great.
Running from the gun?
Yeah. Anyway, so then these
they better run.
The Goldar-looking guys, the parademons, come out, and they are so like, this feels so Sonic the Comic, because there's those trooper robot guys that look like they came from like Judge Dredd or something. It really feels like one of those. And yet Archie is the one that has the history of being influenced by these older comics, I think. And I thought that was very interesting that, Sonic has been adapted to so many comics, and here I am like, I'm just getting it all. It's all coming back.
Well, the thing that it did remind me of, speaking of Archie, is when Sonic and the Archie cast crossed over with Image Comics, and Savage Dragon and Spawn who they had previously alluded to as the Spawn mower.
Yes.
This was actually the real Spawn who was in an alley and said, I don't have time for this. And then you were like, yeah, Spawn, you don't. You're too badass to be in a Sonic comic.
Right.
And then Ken Penders, obviously, he was trying to soft launch his original IP through Image, and that didn't quite work. And so this is missing a little bit of that, but that's only so far. Maybe there is like a new character who's going to take over the DC X Sonic crossover and make it all about them, and then read their original adventures, and then nobody will. No, in fact,
I would love it
DC,
if DC Sonic was how we introduced the Max to the IDW chronology.
a lot of DC X Sonic is definitely the characters establishing who they are, saying their catchphrases, and making sure that it's very clear why the characters pair off together. So, for example, Sonic and the Flash. Why would Sonic and the Flash be paired together, Abby?
I'm not a big Flash fan, so I think it's because they're both incredibly boring.
Oh,
that's actually exactly right, because all they do is run at a high speed, and Sonic taunts Flash a little bit, and that's about the most insight.
Yeah.
Knuckles and Superman, they're both the last of their kind, and their homeland is very central to their character.
I would have loved it if
Superman.
it was Knuckles and Shazam. And Knuckles never realizes that Shazam is a child because they're both equally stupid, and he's just like, "Man, that's Shazam, pretty sharp cookie over there."
This is a great gag in the comic, and it is maybe the one thing that I'm going to spoil that that people might be all like, "Oh, that would have been really funny," but maybe it'll be really funny if I tell it to you. So, the way that this is set up, as with all of these things, like the characters all meet each other and they introduce themselves, and they give their taglines and all this, like, "Oh, I'm Sonic, I'm the fastest thing alive," and Flash is like, "Oh, and we'll see about that, we're gonna run around now," and "Oh, I'm Amy, I'm the girl," and Wonder Woman's like, "I'm a woman too."
I'm so mad to hear that. That sucks so much.
And then Knuckles previously,
Big Barda. Amy deserves Big Barda. Go on, sorry.
So there's this Big Barda. Yeah. So there's this scene, I forget exactly the details, but everyone's kind of coming together. They've all got their buddies. They're all paired off. And like Knuckles just falls out of the sky and just punches this thing and nearly destroys it. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't quite destroy it." And then Superman comes down and he destroys it. And Knuckles and Superman up to this point have not exchanged a word. We have not seen them interact yet at all. And he just says, "Thanks, Superman." And Superman says, "No problem, Knuckles." Because the way this thing is structured, it's like they are working on the assumption that the DC people don't know any of these Sonic characters, even though they're hugely popular. And the Sonic people, who knows what they know? They might not know anything about DC. And you guys were saying that it's for you, but it's clearly written for people who don't know who any of these people are, because they keep telling you who they are. But then they subvert it with Sonic and with Knuckles and Superman to just be like, "Oh, hey Soups." Yeah, they always knew each other. Because the implication, the way it's structured, is that they always knew each other.
But that's just that it happens off panel, I think.
Right.
It happens off panel.
Pairs off.
Right, because Superman saves Knuckles, and there's that neat moment with the diamond, because of course, like, the Master Emerald is diamond shaped, and Superman's logo is diamond shaped. So when you see the thing explode, it's both like, because like we're saying, like we're spoiling it. That's what's happening, right?
So it's a happy ending in the end. You've spoiled that they solve the problem in the end.
Oh, they don't solve the problem. Yeah.
Okay. That actually is fun.
Superman just stops Knuckles from evaporating.
Yeah. So if I were more familiar with DC Comics, I would have known that thing that happened was Superman saving Knuckles.
Right. Well,
because it was just like a bunch of red stuff on the screen, the way I saw it.
Right. It's his cape.
Not the screen, but
when you look
panel.
at it, you're like, "Oh, that's Superman. It's the streak of red because it's his cape." And you see that. Because at first,
wouldn't it be the Flash? He's a streak of red.
It's a streak of blue. See, look, there's the streak of blue. Oh, what am I doing? Am I going to hold this up?
Here's my pitch for how they should have done it.
Right. So you see the panel, right?
Oh no. Yeah.
See, there's Knuckles. He's about.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And then a beam fires at him.
I wasn't done with him, Superman.
Right.
Sorry, Knuckles. Thanks for softening him up for me. That's
right. So you see the visual, right? The blue, because he's big blue. He's Superman. And
okay.
And it all makes sense.
And
I
actually,
would love it.
on the preceding page, can I say, by the way, that it is a little, I winced a little. Everybody's saying their catchphrases, so I get it. And Cyborg in the Teen Titans animated series, his catchphrase is undoubtedly booyah.
Yeah.
But it was such a thing with the movie, the Zack Snyder movie, and the actor who didn't want to say it. And it was just became such like a controversial thing that it's like, did it have to be? And that's like the only thing Cyborg says for most of the comic. He later has a thing that's like, oh, Mother Box also does this. So he does some more things. But
me loves Mother Box.
Booyah.
They're gonna get married.
They're babies. Everyone who touches a Mother Box starts talking like a baby.
Like
I would love it
caveman.
if no one was paired off with Superman, but then at the end everyone meets him because he's got, all the powers, and everyone's just like, I feel like I have a great kinship with Superman. Like everyone's just like, Sonic's like, that's my one. Everyone thinks they're his because he's the best.
Right.
He's you get it. Yeah. He's
Yes. Yeah.
He's a reporter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who is Crackle?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked about this. Boy.
And my follow-up question is he supposed to be a Sonic the Hedgehog character?
Yes, he is.
Middle brother of three serial elves.
He is a parody of Sonic in the Flash comics. He is a radio wave, which, Sonic, the word Sonic denoting sound waves. So he is the manifestation of a radio play character that Wally West enjoyed as a boy. And so when he meets Crackle, it's like you meeting Sonic. And then they have to race against each other.
Right.
So him recognizing him as him thinking he's Crackle is cute. It also makes us wonder which Flash this is.
Oh.
So I think it is Wally West. But
Right.
do you think it's Barry, David?
I mean, he reads very Wally to me. See, the difference between Barry and Wally to me is that Barry is boring. Barry Allen is a boring man. And Wally West is not.
He's a wiseacre.
Yeah, I feel like it was Wally because he seemed fun and he smiled and he was Barry Allen is right. But I looked it up. I looked it up very briefly because that arc, it was written by Grant Morrison, so that means we know Grant Morrison knows what Sonic the Hedgehog is.
Never doubted.
But I guess there is some somewhat recent Flash arc where Crackle interacts with the Flash family, so it is possible that Barry has met Crackle. But I feel like this,
I agree. I also thought it was
Wally West in general. It feels like it right now in DC. So,
and this specifically seemed like the Justice League roster from the Bruce Timm DC animated universe version.
My friend was telling me that
minus Hawkgirl. There's no Hawkgirl.
My friend was telling me the Bruce Timm Flash, like it's ambiguous which Flash that is, or something. He said they never clarify which one, and they give conflicting details.
They do. During the season 2 finale, he takes his mask off and says Wally West. No, actually, Batman.
Well, I know there's the bit
points
where
at him and it says, "You're Wally West." Yeah. So
but
he's
what if Batman's wrong?
Maybe it was debate over,
Batman's
like, at one
wrong.
point it switches without acknowledging it or something. He's behaving differently. Does the voice actor ever change? I don't know.
That happens with Green Lantern. In Superman, the animated series, he's introduced as Kyle Rayner. And then later, but he looks like Hal Jordan. And then later, I think it's just Hal, right?
Well, no, Hal is not in the DCAU aside from there's a brief moment when time is falling apart. I believe it's Time and Again part 1 and 2 when John Stewart gets swapped out for Hal briefly, and then in the Justice League vs. the Fatal 5 movie, direct-to-video movie, which is part of the DCAU, but it was made like years and years later. There is a statue of Hal Jordan next to Kyle Rayner and John Stewart because that movie has what's her face? You know, that the newer Green Lantern that they introduced.
Oh, Jade.
No, not Jade. She's
Grog Morton, the Living Planet.
Right. She has it starts with
we
an
could
R.
We could ask the writer. I know the writer of Justice League versus the Fatal 5. He was an intern along with me on the show Smallville. But
whoa, wait, you were an intern on Smallville?
Yeah. Yeah,
You never told me that. What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was an intern on the season that Jeff Johns did the Justice Society two-parter.
Whoa.
So that would have been 2009, 10, 2010, something like that.
Wow.
A long time ago.
That's Jessica Cruz is her name. She's a
there's the
new
R.
52. Yeah. I was like, what is it? The R is in
the middle of her name.
Wait, is that a thing? There has to be an R in a Green Lantern name?
No, I thought her name was like Raya or Raya or something. But
does that
It
hold
was
true?
like Kyle Rayner,
Alan-
Hal Jordan.
Alan R. Scott.
Right.
No, I don't
Good
know.
memory. Guy
Gardner.
Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner.
They all got
Right.
ours.
Right.
So back
Makes
to
you think.
Crackle.
Kilowog.
Yeah, Crackle.
Oh, yes.
Oh, right.
I would like to ask.
Kilowog.
I saw you, Abby, in the video, which no one else can see. This only we can see. I saw you pick up your phone as soon as I said Crackle. Did you find Crackle?
I just found like a guy in like a grunge outfit who it looks like
You're
exited
probably not spelling
continuity in
Crackle.
2011.
Because the thing
I'm
is,
probably
Crackle,
spelling it right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Crackle. The character's name is spelled Krakkl, which to my
3Ks.
Yeah,
Always
having
an auspicious
actually-
sign in a comic book character.
I had no idea that this character existed, and the way that he is mentioned offhand, just so that we all know that the writers are cool and they've thought of these things.
Mhm.
He says, "Hey, is that you, Crackle?" or something like that. And I'm
Crackle?
thinking,
What are you doing here?
yeah, Crackle, what are you doing here? And I was thinking, like, did he just like transmit into this universe? Is Crackle the sound of like his voice breaking? I was so confused. So I look, but the way that Sonic reacts made me go, "Crack," because he says, "Oh, you've got me mistaken with someone else.
He's got the wrong guy.
You've got the
Still,
wrong
I
guy."
like your
And
hustle.
so I was like, this is a really strange thing to say. I'm going to look up Crackle and see if that is like a person or a thing that the Flash just says sometimes. I don't have any idea. But so, because it was spelled so weird, and yeah, it is like, it looks like a sound effect.
It does. I think a lot of people Googled Crackle that day. I bet if you search the Google search history, there's going to be a big spike for Crackle on the
A
day
real
that
visible.
DC had
If
Sonic the
Crackle
Hedgehog.
doesn't get a lot of attention otherwise, you think?
I
No,
don't think so.
he had one
Yeah.
arc because Grant Morrison was not the main writer on
It
Flash
was
ever.
Mark Millar.
Oh,
Right?
Mark Millar,
No.
whose
I mean,
first gig was writing
Mark
Sonic
Wade.
the comic. Oh,
Oh, it was Mark Wade?
Mark Wade
Different
was did.
Well,
did
Mark
that-
Wade did the Flash run, but I thought Crackle's
Crackle-
Mark Wade?
No, Crackle is Grant Morrison.
Oh, okay.
No, I was saying like when I think of the Flash, I think of the Mark Wade run in the 90s.
Me too.
And
Oh,
then there's
yeah.
the Jeff Johns run that led up to Infinite Crisis because I started reading that because I was back in DC at the time. So it
Yeah.
was like, and then there's some random stuff in between those two, and one of them is Grant Morrison giving it a shot. He was too busy writing JLA and DC 1 Million, and then not writing DC comics for a while.
Yes.
I think he was
They,
sitting there.
correction.
so
Oh,
Wally
right.
yeah,
West
it is Grant
Don't forget it.
Morrison.
Yes.
was
They.
big into Crackle.
Wally West was beginning to crackle.
He
when
was a big
he
fan
saw
of
Crackle.
this Crackle thing.
It was a
right?
radio
okay, so
show?
did Wally West? Yeah, that's a
Something like
very
that.
like, oh, it's the 1930s. We love radio plays.
Yeah.
I hope Wally West like got really into the fandom, made like a suit,
Perhaps
started writing
a
fan
Crackle
fiction.
fan
He has this-
character.
Yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I would love that. Like he's spending all of his non-superhero time
I think
on
that's,
like
that-
fan forums debating continuity.
that's what he's got the time because he's so super fast. So
Hey!
Wally West could be arguing, in the millisecond that it takes for him to write out a long, good forum post that totally deconstructs your argument and makes you feel embarrassed
I feel
for
like
ever
long.
suggesting such a thing about Crackle's character.
I feel like the adjectives long and good can't coexist when you put them before a forum post.
But he does it. That's the magic of superhero fantasy.
he's the only one who knows how.
It's like Batman is the one good billionaire, and the one
Poor
good
Green
long
Arrow.
forum post. Yeah,
I've got some IDW Sonic questions now. If
sure.
good time to ask them. So
How's
one
the
of
little
them
wooden
is
girl doing?
this is some interesting world building that I saw happen here because we know that Sonic is always kind of they're trying to figure out who he is,
He's a hedgehog.
and he says this line. me and my friends aren't organized like you guys, referring to the Justice League, who are a whole league. We just take life as it comes. Do I have this right? As it comes and help who
Help
needs
anyone
it.
needs it. Yep.
And I was like, what happened to the Resistance / Restoration? Did they get disbanded? I thought they had an organization.
Oh. Unless this takes place before Forces.
Oh, okay.
I guess it isn't clear when it takes place.
Well,
All
Silver's there. So if Silver's there, like, you need a reason for him. And I feel like they've only given him reasons to be there.
I'm not super up on IDW, but am I understanding right that the little sheep lady,
Lanolin,
who I know within the fandom seems to only feel hate for Sonic the Hedgehog, is she like the Maxwell Lord of IDW Sonic?
I don't know much about her yet because I'm not entirely caught up on the IDW series, but I do seem to recall that she was I don't know. David, are you caught up?
I've read up to 75, so I haven't read the last couple issues. But she was like, she's had a chip on her shoulder. She was introduced and was just like, oh, I'm here, I'm helping out the Resistance, and then she becomes part of the new Diamond Cutters, and I think she's just really trying to prove herself, but also be by the book. But yeah, I guess her big like. The issue is that Silver identifies someone and says they're a bad guy, and he tricks everyone into thinking he's not the bad guy. And so it's like Silver, tisk tisk, and is trying to sow seeds of doubt, with Silver and Whisper and all this. And then she realizes at the end of 75 that she screwed up and that the bad guy was a bad guy. And it was like, oh, we'll deal with this later. So I think. But she was also like, I guess we have to arrest Sonic the Hedgehog at one point because he was disguised. And see,
Mimic, right? Isn't that
right? Well, because Mimic was pretending to be somebody else and infiltrated the Diamond Cutters so that he would work with the opossum and take down the Resistance.
May I interrupt for a second?
Money? I don't know. Yeah.
Was this the one? I got spotty after around issue 60 or so. Is this the thing that had Sonic Riders?
The Riders arc,
and they were like flying around.
Yeah, so Sonic becomes the masked. He's not called the Masked Rider, right?
Yeah,
he's got to be called something else.
Okay, yeah. Just thanks for clarifying that.
He's the Masked Rider, and then everyone finds out the Masked Rider's Sonic, and Lanolin goes, "We have to arrest Sonic because he keeps on interrupting these legitimate races." And when I heard that, it's like. This is Sonic's world. If Sonic shows up, like you could have a race with Extreme Gear and Eggman shows up and the Babylon Rogues show up and everyone you've ever known shows up and disrupts it. You wouldn't arrest anyone. In fact, you don't arrest anyone because you let Dr. Eggman exist as a normal human being in this world. So why are you suddenly so concerned with arresting Sonic the Hedgehog?
I'm not super up on IDW. They could just arrest Dr. Robotnik and they don't.
I mean, there is not a clear sense of what the government is or if there's any social services. It feels like because the restoration exists.
Clearly the social services are Sonic sometimes giving help to people who need it.
Right. Sonic.
Yeah, I'm just a guy who likes providing social services.
I remember all through the pandemic, everyone was looking to Joseph Biden. We were like, help us, we need help. And he said, what you see is what you get, buds. Just a guy who loves adventure.
That's true.
Glad we both went to the same quote, too.
So I got more questions.
Oh,
this is a bit of a refresher question for me. Has anything Sunset City is the main city in IDW? Is that right?
I believe it. No,
I don't. When they said it in the comic, I was like, oh, that's another thing I'll have to Google because Sunset City was from the advanced games or where is it from?
Sunset. That's Sunset Park.
I looked it up.
Sunset City.
Sunset City has shown up in IDW, but I don't think it's the main city in which
I was remembering it from
the restoration.
The virus, the metal virus. So do we know if anything bad has happened there? Like since then, has it gotten shitty?
The economy's in
The
the
sun
toilet.
is set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a sundown town. Oh my gosh!
that's
no.
That's where they have the radio station with the bird, with the owl,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
Night
That
the
sounds
owl,
adorable.
Right.
and Don the rooster, and they're in a relationship.
They have to be, right? Because they share a camper together, and you don't
Yes.
share a camper unless you're like
Yeah, I think
not
canonically
geeks, I think is what.
they're canonically gay, and they can't say that. But
They can't say it outright.
They can't outright say it,
even though they
because Disney
could.
would. They could say it. I don't see why they can't. But
In
What
as
was
much as
Disney?
birds have cloaca, I think they're gay no matter what. All birds are gay. That's my
I would
yeah,
love if I
controversial
they're
stance here.
dinosaurs.
Michael,
They're
are
gay
all
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs gay?
That's a great question.
Sure, why not?
Michael.
Why not?
I mean, some definitely are.
Wow.
Tell me more.
Like this.
I had more Sonic stuff to talk about before we.
There can
Get
be
on to that.
dinosaurs
Should
in
we-
Sonic. Tell
do
me
we
about
wanna-
gay Sonic dinosaurs.
Well, I mean, there are
Stegosaurus.
definitely gay penguins, and penguins are dinosaur
Okay.
descendants. So
You
there must
sold
have
me.
been gay dinosaurs also,
Mhm.
like
You sold me.
your conventional
Right.
reptilian dinosaur.
Whoopi Goldberg teamed up with the dinosaur once, right?
Yeah. So I guess I didn't
and
want
one
to.
time she also coached a basketball team. Shortly, I think the same year. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
She was busy.
Right. She pretended
Oh,
to be
yeah.
a nun a couple times.
I love those movies. Anyway, Michael,
Yeah.
you have questions.
What
I'm
is
sorry.
your-
Yep. How long has Amy's car in IDW been capable of flight? Is that normal? Or I guess
You
I've
like that
answered
her
the
having
question
a
with this
car is just
because of
canon.
the Sonic Riders thing and the air races. So there were a lot of flying cars then, right?
Well, you don't see
Those were
flying cars in
flying.
the-
Hover, no. That's
Right.
yeah,
planes.
hover- the
But there were
extreme
also
gear.
like there was a flying station wagon, and I want to say the owl was in it.
Oh, there were some flying cars there. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
She wasn't in her car because she was doing some infiltration and ended
Uh-huh.
up, behind enemy lines, as it were. I think that's meant to be her All Stars transformed car, which does have a flight mode.
Yeah.
because that's what happens in
But
that game.
I guess my thought was, is this in the comic previously? Is it a surprise that she has a flying car?
I don't.
I still kind of think
don't remember
of
seeing-
Amy's car as being like having a face and eyelashes from.
Oh, I love that car. I love that car. I think they shouldn't bring in this nonsense car. I think Amy should be paired with the Question.
Oh man,
I think they should just be doing normal detective stuff. And she comes back and she's like, "Hey guys, did you know that the government is spying on us at all times?"
that'd be so cool, right? Because then she could also have the question face where she just has
Oh my
the blank.
gosh. I
Oh.
love this. I love this. That's
I would be-
Sonic Boom Amy, I feel like would definitely go all in. I guess
You
that's just her
mentioned-
relationship with Styx.
Fleetway earlier, and there is kind of a Fleetway reference before the Sonic does say his Sonic Adventure 2 line of "What you see is what you get. I'm just a hedgehog who loves adventure." But before that, the Flash asks
Presidential
him,
campaign.
"It's really all natural, no crazy mad science treadmill accidents or
Right.
anything."
I like that.
And it's like, oh,
Thank you,
I
Flash.
see what you're doing. You're referring to the old origin, the
Yeah.
Kinto Boar,
Right.
the Kinto
Ah.
Boar of it all.
Wouldn't it be funny if like they're trying, they think that Darkseid is the Kintobo Robotnik thing, and so that he used to really be called. Wait, what is Darkseid backwards?
Decrad.
Right.
Decard.
Degrassi?
Discard.
Oh.
Cad.
Sonic should cross over with Degrassi, but it would have to be a certain era, either like vintage 80s or early next gen. I don't like modern Degrassi, whatever's happening there. New class, never watched that. Who cares?
There was a TV spot for an episode of Degrassi that had the phrase "Spinner gets a boner," and I never saw this TV spot. But my
Oh.
friend Mary Jo in school, Mary Johanna,
Mhm.
had seen this TV spot or was like, "Have you seen this show Degrassi?" Apparently in the new episode, the TV was telling me Spinner gets a boner. And the phrase "Spinner gets a boner" it's just one of the greatest sequences of words I've ever encountered in my
Oh.
life. And that's
Yeah.
all I will ever need to know about Degrassi. It's about a boy named Spinner getting a boner in class.
Pitch Degrassi in 4 words. Spinner gets a boner.
That's right.
That's Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction. You know what happens in a lot of that? Sonic Spinner gets a bone.
Yeah. Well, wait, I mean, if Sonic spins, then that's how he gets a what? Oh,
Cheers. 1 second. I have to say this about Cheers. We never figured out who Frasier is.
This is important because
and it's got to be Tails. It's got to be Tails. Tails is the only one that makes sense as Frasier. I know we were saying Tails was Woody, but I think Abby makes a better point than Knuckles.
Can Tails and his supporting cast make a spin-off show on their own?
Tails
I think it's Shadow. Brother? I think it has to be Shadow Frasier, because Frasier, like, he goes off, he's like the dark version of Sam that Diane tries to marry, but they just can't do it. He's always brooding about Freddie, and he falls in love with Lilith.
The anti-Sam.
I think Lilith could be Shadow as well, because there's all the jokes about all the ravens are in town. Maybe Lilith is visiting or whatever. All these omens happen whenever she comes to.
So it's the dad Gerald in Frasier.
I love that. He's just got an evil chair. And Shadow's like, I gotta throw out this chair, Dad. Or Maria thinks she's a bit psychic.
Oh yeah.
There was one other really interesting world building moment, in the way that they're kind of Sonic is helping people. Amy Rose, we're introducing all of these characters. Hey, I'm Amy Rose. Hey, I'm Wonder Woman, all this. But Sonic introduces Amy Rose as his long-term bestie.
He does.
Canonically, she is the first friend. Canonically, Sonic CD takes place before Sonic 2.
Right.
Even though release order, Sonic CD comes after Sonic 2. But canonically.
But also, canonically, I don't think Sonic considered Amy his friend in CD. I think she was more like a pest.
Yeah.
I feel like Sonic's first discounting the animal friends, which of course you shouldn't. I guess Sonic's first best friend was Flicky the Bluebird and Cucky. And
and Sally Acorn.
And Sally Acorn.
I'm just glad I said Cucky and someone else repeated.
yes, Cucky.
Yeah, we know Cucky.
We love
Cucky, Clucky.
No,
I love calling him. Yeah.
There are two characters. There is a Clucky, but there's also a Cucky, and you can't erase what is.
That's right. That, when we were talking about generations and what changed, like when we had that email last week, right? About Rouge the Bat, that was a couple weeks ago. Right. The worst piece of censorship was, of course, the fact that they changed the spelling of Cucky's name.
Yeah, that's right.
They added an
L.
L.
Right.
That's the one thing that they shouldn't have changed. Everything else.
I've had it with this Cookie Cutter franchise.
But yet Tails is Sonic's first proper friend, right?
Yeah.
He's also a pest.
But it's not really that
but he learned
that she's a question of who's the longest term bestie, but it's she is my friend is what he's saying. And she doesn't say anything to question it. She's not all but I'd like to be more than a bestie.
Right. That characterization has been
a bestie with bestafits, if you know what I mean.
You know what's interesting about that characterization is it's kind of like the name Dr. Robotnik, where for a little bit there was both. It was like Robotnik and Eggman were used sort of interchangeably. And for a minute, it seemed like Amy was going to still retain that obsessiveness about Sonic, but also have other interests and be not devoted to just being single-mindedly obsessed with Sonic. But now it's like she was almost never obsessed with Sonic. That never happened. And it's almost like in universe, they're sort of just pretending. They're rewriting their own narrative.
There's a hint of it in issue 75 when Amy sees Sonic again and they've all sort of reunited and she's like, we're all okay. She gets a little excited. She runs over and hugs him. There's a shade of it, but it definitely, it does
early
feel like
early IDW has it too. Yeah.
I love it. They characterize it as she just embarrassed herself once and became very self-conscious about it. And now she just tries very hard to pretend no, I'm normal. Everything's normal. I'm fine. There's nothing. It's fine. Nothing. I'm normal.
We're all Sonic's friends, and we have all been totally normal about that the whole time.
Yeah.
We don't think Sonic is that special. Yeah, he's okay, but I'm just as good.
She does have a podcast about Sonic with her friend David.
Right. That's probably how she learned how to
Who
turn
doesn't?
invisible. She was so embarrassed. That 06 reference, deep cut. It's a game mechanic.
That's
So
so
they can
true. She
fly.
does turn invisible in 06.
Why? What?
Yeah,
That's
it's one
her
of her
First I'm
moves.
hearing about that's awful. She has hammer.
But she could do detectiving now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
She's even more blending
She broke
into the
into
shadows.
a maximum security government facility in Sonic 2. Adventure 2. I mean, maybe in Sonic 2 we don't see her.
Yeah, who
I
knows?
would apologize to the listener for not covering the DC enough, but I feel like we have covered it. We've covered it page by page. The only thing that we haven't really gotten into is Shadow and Batman's page.
Yes.
But everything else we actually have kind of, and we haven't gotten into Silver and Green Lantern. They have a few
What makes me
panels together.
so enervated about this is that the way you described it as like, and then they pair off with the guy who, marketing buzzwords pair them with. Like if you did a tie-in comic about like the new line of Starbursts, where Sonic's like, Starbursts sure are powerful, bud. Like that's exactly the structure that would have. And it really just makes me sad.
Well, I mean, DC is not a stranger to strange crossovers. There's there's like a Batman in Subway, or like Batman Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, the Jared
the Subway
thing. Yeah.
Or so they've done Subway comics. There's of course Batman and FaZe Clan, the esports team that I know nothing about, but I read the comic because I was curious, and I'm like, there's no way Batman would put up with any of this shit, but he is doing it. He's being a trooper. I love Superman has teamed up probably on more than one occasion with Bugs Bunny. There was a miniseries in the 90s where it was just it was Superman Bugs Bunny. It was like a 3-issue miniseries. That's some fun stuff there.
Yeah.
I got a couple more. These are more fun questions if you want. These are a little bit more like some activity-based questions. So at the end of the episode of the issue, we see that Darkseid has a Chaos Emerald. He's standing in the Green Hill Zone, which is where you go to investigate things. You go to the Green Hill Zone, and there he is. He's standing there holding a Chaos Emerald. Did he find it on the ground, do you think? Or did he go to a special stage? And if he went to a special stage, which one did he go to? And did he have a frustrating time getting the emerald?
Did he curl up into a ball and tumble along and have to avoid and have to be on the diamonds for a little bit to get them to change color and then go away so he could get the Chaos Emerald? I think he did.
I think the funniest one for me is just imagining Darkseid like staring down the half pipe and listening to the music go da 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 da. And at first he's like, "This is beneath me. This is beneath me." But then by the end he's humming like da 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 da.
He's running as fast as he can. How fast?
It's the first time he's felt joy.
It's the first. That's right.
Infinite speed, I believe, is the canon of the New Gods.
Infinite.
I don't know.
I have so many things about this. This is just one little observation that I wrote down. There's this part where Tails is talking about the Chaos Emeralds, and he says, there's 7 mystic gemstones of unlimited power. And then Green Lantern says, with that kind of power, he could fuel Ragnarok and destroy countless worlds. And I'm like, Tails should have said, yes, that is what infinite means. Countless. Okay, so my other question,
for their willpower, not for their intelligence.
My other question is
Those are the two Smarties.
We've had Sonic has been in, he's been translated to comics and cartoons in a lot of different ways. How many iterations of Sonic do you think already know who Superman is?
Oh,
like
the American
existing world
Sonic.
where Superman exists as a kind of a media presence.
You know how they'll do that thing sometimes? I feel like Archie did a thing, because like Dave Manick would love all the gags where like you'd see Sonic reading a Superman comic, but then years later, unexpectedly, they do a crossover and the fans would just have to have this knowledge that they're fictional in both of each other's universes. Mm-hmm. And I love the idea of a crossover where they both talk about that and they're just like, so how, what? So I'm fictional, but you're...
That's why they should do it in the movies, because movie Sonic definitely thinks of Superman like he reads Flash comic books.
Yeah.
So if movie Sonic met movie Flash, that would really be a headache.
Wait, is movie Flash an actor or actually the Flash?
Movie Flash is a sex predator, movie? I thought. We should edit that out.
All true. Well, no, movie Flash is a predator. TV Flash is fine, I think.
as far
Which
as
one
we
held
know,
up a convenience store or something?
Movie Flash.
It's Movie Flash.
right?
Okay.
TV Flash. He just coasted through 8 seasons of a show. He probably has a nice house in Boca Raton, and he's just living his life. Movie
And
Flash.
his name's Grant.
Oh yeah. And there's probably going to be a new Movie Flash anyway. There's no way.
Yeah.
That
He's not coming back.
He's not. No, they're gonna have someone new, and he's gonna be like, I am actually the only Flash that's been on a movie screen. There's also 90s.
And it could be Wally
Flash.
West.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
90s Flash is cool.
Flash. That suit is amazing. It's a great suit.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, right. I like crossovers when somebody interacts and it's like, I know you're fictional, but you're real. I feel like the first time, man, but I feel like it doesn't happen enough. I think about that there was the 60s Batman show, and there was also a Green Hornet show at the same time, and they had wink and nod crossovers. Like in one episode, Batman talks about like the Green Hornet's on the TV, and in an episode of Green Hornet, the Batman 66 show is on TV, but they actually had a crossover where they met, and they don't comment on the fact that there are fictional versions of themselves on TV. They just are like, Batman's like, you can't trust Green Hornet. He's not a duly deputized, member of the law. Right, I guess because Green Hornet's shtick is that he makes everyone thinks he's a criminal, but he isn't a criminal. He actually solves everything, which I feel like that would end very quickly when people realize you're never actually doing anything bad. But yeah, like that.
So stupid.
It was
what a dumb hook. There goes the Green Hornet. Oh, he's a real bad guy. All his crimes get solved. Nobody knows how it happens. He's still out here.
Right. Maybe of needing a bad reputation, but then having such low self-esteem that you're like, I need to record on television what actually happened, and just you've kneecapped your own scheme.
I mean, that could be it, right? And right, because there might have been I think maybe what it was is like, no, the Green Hornet saw Batman on TV, and in Batman there was a brief crossover, not the full 2 episode they're teaming up, but how Batman would climb the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And pretending to climb the wall
the 60s
there.
Celebrities
would have cameos, yeah.
Right, and it'd be like, oh, hello, Green Hornet from the television show Green Hornet. Like, it was basically one of those things. It was such a good time.
I feel like that's more dignified than
Right.
DC meets Sonic.
Yeah, well, I think like in the modern day, that would be like Dr. Fraser Crane is climbing up the wall. And
Tails pops out of the window.
Pops out and he's like, oh, Dr. Fraser Crane. He's like, oh, yes, Tails. What is? Do you need some psychiatric help?
To help
and he's
my friend Sonic with his fear of commitment.
He's like, oh, man. Do you think Amy would call the show, hand the phone to Sonic, and Sonic doesn't realize that he's on the radio?
I feel like Amy calls the show every week and just like heavily alludes to her thing with Sonic. And like Frasier has to stop himself from just telling her to shut up because.
But Roz is like, I think, on Amy's side. Roz is like, she can definitely relate to Amy's situation.
Oh yeah, see, Amy and Roz totally work together.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how they pair up.
Would
Bulldog?
Would Amy date Bulldog in order to make Sonic jealous?
These are some great plot lines.
I was gonna say Bulldog is Knuckles because they're both, dumb as rocks. So.
IDW and I guess NBC.
Right, the whole NBC lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do Seinfeld X Sonic the Hedgehog. We could do Mad About You X Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh my gosh. It's so weird that Richard Kind was on that show and they give him like two episodes. Like completely like I understand why he would go to Spin City where he was great and valued.
He was great in Spin City. Yeah.
Completely under. You ever see the John Astin episode? Where
was he underused? I missed. Oh, he was on Mad About You.
He was on the first like 2 seasons of Mad About You, but like they didn't use him. Like he's just I'm your friend.
Right.
Hi. He like this is a man who can steal what is it? The producer's movie musical, like with one line. He has one line in that and it's great. We find the defendant is very guilty.
Amazing, but he is not strong enough to defeat the black hole that is Paul Reiser's comedic charisma. He is just like the least charismatic person, I think, in the history of people who've had a sitcom. Sorry,
okay,
Paul
you're in
Reiser
charge
fans.
of a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and the studio comes to you and they're like, you need to find a character for Richard Kind to voice. Who do you give him to? Sonic. What you see is what you get. Just a guy who loves adventure.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great. I mean, that would definitely change the paradigm of who Sonic is as a character and what Richard Kind can do.
I'll make you eat those words, Paul Reiser. I'll make you eat those words.
So pretty good. I can see him too. You got the he's got like a jaw tongue thing with how he speaks. I don't know how else to describe it, but he speaks in the way that like a Muppet talks with physically. But yeah.
He was also in the film
Anyway.
Quest of the Delta Knights. If you've ever
I need
seen.
to watch this now. What's that?
Right. Well, it's a movie that was on Mystery Science Theater. It also stars, what's his face? TMNT2, The Secret of the Ooze.
David Warner.
David Warner,
That's right.
right.
It's like, Leonardo da Vinci was in like a secret society or something.
Yes. Those are the Delta Knights. So there's Leonardo of da Vinci. Yes, and then and David Warner plays a dual role. He is the mentor of the child, and then also the main villain. David
Warner played like a dark timeline Doctor Who regeneration in one of the Big Finish spin-offs.
Really?
It's like an alternate thing. I think he might have been the Master, I forget. But he's great in that, and I just love that of all the Doctor Who's, who I would not say in the main are people who are averse to starring in trash. But I feel like David Warner has the widest range of like he feels like he's slumming it in every movie he's ever done. Because he's never done like the great movie that he was clearly born for.
He was meant to do, right?
And everything you do, you're just like, you deserve better. What are you doing here? Much like the listener. Everywhere you look at me, you think, yes, much like the listener. Much nicer way to go. I was just about to go on some sort of an egomaniacal tangent, but you're
I was going to say
you're much better, Ken.
No, yeah,
we're not restricted.
Well, now, yeah. I don't know.
There is no bow here. We can end whenever we want, but
we can end whenever we want, and that is the call to action for.
Oh wow!
Because we're at an hour, and we have basically covered all the things that we said we were going to cover. Maybe not everything, but pretty close.
Right. I didn't get to pretend to be Bo and read Rings of Saturn.
Oh yeah, and we also forgot to throw to Barry, and probably I think Michael had a few more questions. But again, we are at an hour, so
right, but.
I omitted some on purpose. It's fine.
No, what else? How many more?
I think they were like observations. Let me check here.
Yeah.
Oh well,
I love it when Michael goes off on his observational comedy.
Yes.
Have you ever noticed?
Right.
I had more Sunset City stuff, but I was like, it's not important. But since you put me on the spot here, the thing is, I didn't want to like rag on this comic for having cheap looking backgrounds. Because on the whole, I think the backgrounds look pretty good. But here's the thing. Sunset City looks so much like a normal city. And this is the way that it is all the time. It looks like a normal city. So when I saw the previews of the comic, I thought, this is Sonic in the DC universe. Because that's where you're going to find these alleys that Shadow can go sulk down. And you're going to have buildings that some Goldar-looking guys can break and all of this. But it turns out it's Sunset City. And it looks like crap. And I don't mean that it looks badly drawn. It's just that it is so sterile. When we've seen Sunset City, if it was the place that Metal Virus took place in, there's like crowds of screaming animal people just running everywhere all the time. But in this, the population of the city is like one possum lady carrying a baby, some other animal that I couldn't figure out what that one was, and a parking garage full of bushes. Like, I'm not kidding here. Like, there's all these normal looking buildings, and then there's a parking garage, and it's just full of green plants just in it. Like, and I'm like,
perhaps it's an arboretum.
Maybe. Or is it like, did something bad happen here? And there's only a few like little refugees hanging around.
Maybe. Let's see. Where's this parking garage?
It was in a state of being rebuilt
at
one point.
Like maybe something bad had happened here and it had been abandoned and the plants could live in the parking garage. I do suspect at some point in this series. Like there's no cars in the street or anything, but there is one car that like got knocked over by.
Oh yeah, the blue car there.
Well, there's probably only like 12 people living here.
Yeah.
So there's
Well, the thing is that I do agree on. Well, there's going to be multiple issues. So
Yeah.
they may eventually visit Metropolis, Gotham City, Coast City.
oh.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was strange to start on Sonic's World, but maybe it's I mean, it does have a okay. We skipped the opening,
Right.
and so but we ended up covering everything else. So the one thing that maybe we haven't covered in terms of what happens in the comic is Knuckles guarding the Master Emerald, which is a pretty fun sequence, fighting all the para demons, and then eventually Darkseid's like, screw it, just destroy it, and then he just blows up the Master Emerald, shatters it, and then Angel Island falls into the ocean. Splish splash, taking a bath.
Right, because it's the one thing that can neutralize the emeralds. So he goes,
I thought that was a pretty clever angle when I realized why it had happened, because I was like, he wants power. Why is he destroying this thing? I mean, and because we all know that stealing the Master Emerald is not difficult. Lots of people have done it. But then that actually he's after the Chaos Emerald and he destroyed it on purpose because he's a super genius, because he knows that the Master Emerald is the one thing that can counter the Chaos Emeralds.
In a future issue, is Sonic going to outrun Darkseid's Omega Beams?
Ooh, baby. We gotta have that. We gotta have that. You gotta have it. Gotta have it.
Do you think this was a refreshing thing in that, you know, like normally when they do these crossovers, it's like who can punch the hardest? They're like, we have to get into a fight immediately.
Right.
But instead, immediately everyone is like, hey, we're friends, let's team up, except for Sonic and the Flash, who are all like, we're going to see who's fastest. But inconclusive, apparently.
Right.
I like that Sonic had that line about how they're not really that organized when, as I understand, ever since Sonic Heroes, Sega has been organizing them into increasingly granular systems of teams.
Do you think that the Sonic characters will have to fight their DC counterparts?
I think the power type characters will have to fight each other, and the flight type characters will have to jump really high.
Makes sense.
Knuckles and Superman will fight with their fists, and Tails and Cyborg will fly. Right, because they're both the tech geniuses. They'll fly really high,
right,
fly into the sky.
I mean, I guess who would you?
They can reach the highest of all the heavens.
Right. Well, who would you?
Somebody's going to be waiting for them there.
Beast Boy, probably.
Probably Beast Boy.
In bird form.
Absolutely. Perched upon a cloud, just like Superman was on that one cover.
One cover of that one comic written by that one person.
All-Star Superman.
Right, who created Crackle, which is the only thing we remember him doing.
Okay, what about Rings of Saturn? And
right.
Bits?
Hi. Oh, right.
Hello,
hey, Barry,
David.
what are you up to? Lots of things. That's great, Barry.
Thanks again, Barry.
All right, and since I'm sure Bo will, when he comes back, will be like, yeah, I posted something. He'll say last week, but he actually posted it today. Oh, wait. Did he talk about Battle Monsters last week? That's the thing he posted.
Yeah, that was the new one, right?
That's the new one. And he's
I do know that I have it on the Saturn Saru, but I don't think he talked about it last week.
Right. He was like, because sometimes he'll talk about what he's working on.
Right.
And sometimes, it is just
and
whatever.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Right. So because I didn't listen back to it, I don't remember.
I don't recall either.
I'm sorry.
I don't think so. But yeah, this is supposedly one of the worst Saturn games.
One of the worst.
I could have sworn
might have mentioned it.
I remembered from I read a lot of Game Fan. That was my main magazine back then, and I could have sworn that it was one of those ones where it was a terrible game, but Game Fan said they loved it.
Is Game Fan wait? What's the magazine that said they loved 06 when every other magazine said we hate it?
Could have been. It wouldn't have been Game Fan.
Sonic the Hedgehog Archie.
It would have been it would have been Gamers Republic, maybe, if it was a Game Fan connected one. If they were running around back at that time.
I'm gonna sneak and I'm just gonna look up on the internet. Hold on. Okay, page production. No, I want. Is this it? No. How rude! I can't believe it. I thought I'd find it instantly, and the answer was no. Sonic 06, 9 out of 10. That's what it was, right?
It got an 85 from Play Magazine in December 2006.
That's the one That's the one we're thinking of.
That
And
is
Games
Dave
Master
Halverson
UK
rag.
gave it a 76.
a 76. That's a good score. It's true.
Game Informer gave it a 68.
One away from the number. Oh yeah, Game Informer. They're coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back, Game Informer.
We could get them
Maybe.
on the show.
They're not really back until go back to their original form of being a flyer that advertised Funko games.
They should do that. At the back of every issue, just reprint that flyer from 1997 that shows that Super Mario Duck Hunt is 10 cents. Those were more innocent times. I wish I could buy an NES game for one thin.
I actually went to
Silver
school
dime.
with the inheritor of the Funko Land fortune. His name was Alfred Funkoland. He's a real guy.
The
He wore,
Funkoland family dynasty.
yeah, he wore
Right.
these little poofy sleeves all the time. Little puffy sleeves. I'm
Puffies?
not using an archaic slur.
No, yeah, you're being very literal.
Yes. The
Well.
sleeves puffed up.
If you love being literal, then that must mean you've gotten to the end of another episode of Sonic Weekly. That's
Any
right.
of y'all ever get threatened in Nahuatl?
And wait, what?
Nahuatl.
No waddle.
I don't want them to
It's
tell me
a
waddle.
language. I
What?
just recommend it. While we're chilling, we're listening to some smooth music, just want to get threatened in Nahuatl.
Oh.
Like that John Prine song, Let's Talk Dirty in Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Whisper in my ear.
Wow. Well,
Say the words I long to hear.
I don't mean to step on you, but this is usually the part of the show where David leads us out of the show.
but I guess we're all going to be, I bet
We can
Whisper-
stay here forever.
We could, like
Why
if-
leave?
right,
What's waiting for us on the other side?
As this recording has gone on, Michael and Grant's rooms have just gotten darker and darker, and they refuse to leave their stations to turn the lights on, and it's very upsetting. They're just glowing
It's
faces
very.
in darkness.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to turn a light on, but
I like the idea of a podcaster with like the clapper set up for their lights, but like you can't clap because it'll pop your
it'll
recording.
Oh, Grant.
yeah.
Your light is
Wow.
very warm.
Ooh.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I
That's
could have a
mood
harsher
lighting.
light, but I've just got the mood lighting for now for you guys.
I like
Right.
that it's affected your tone of voice as well. You're just like, hey everybody, we're
It's starting
recording
over.
the podcast. What's going
This is
on?
Sonic Weekly After Dark. That's what we're talking about. We could do that, but it would just be us recording in the dark and stumbling over things. Like, oh, who left those?
shit. Yeah. Legos on the floor. Sonic Lego set.
Oh no! I can't believe you stepped on that $150 Sonic the Lego. Ow! Now you got to go to the emergency room. It's embedded deep in your foot. But hey, if you've ever stepped on a Lego, maybe you're at the end of another episode of Sonic Weekly. That's right. The show, the Sonic show that comes to you once every 7 days or so. That was our tagline, and it always will be. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, if you enjoy the fact that we get guests on, we talk about Sonic, we do the proverbial verbiage. Now, I guess it's very literal verbiage. It's an audio medium. Hey, if you haven't already, you should subscribe to this podcast using your podcatcher of choice. Be that Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or for the Android faithful, Podcast Addict. You can, of course, rate and review this show in any of those apps. In-app, that's how they do it. Those numbers help us. I'm sure they do. That's how algorithms work. But if you reject all podcatchers, we're also on YouTube at Sonic-Weekly. Like, comment, and subscribe. And our voices are joined by video game footage recorded by friend of the show, Jack of Old Games. If you want to reach out to the show, our email address is the same as it's ever been, sonicweeklypodcast@gmail.com.
Same as it ever was.
Yeah, that's it.
Back Gamer Mom on Kickstarter.
That's right. We will. You can email us and tell us you've backed Gaming Mama. The Gaming Mother is how you say it professionally.
Gamer Mom.
The game, the mom.
The game of moms.
The legend.
The mom of game.
The mom
Game of mom.
Mother gave birth to a board game last week.
Do you think Gamer Mom plays her games on a mother box?
Do you think she builds her own motherboards?
She probably does. I don't think she trusts electronic games so much. They're not as personal.
Is she into the electrical ones, like pinball kind of style?
Pinball, I think, is more her speed. Yeah, there's a physical component. You can do it in a bar.
Right.
I mean, anyone can do it in a bar. You just need to find the right bar.
This is the last loop. We're not doing another loop of Empire City.
We're not?
No.
Did you know we have a Discord server? It's true. Email us. Ask us for the link. That's how you get in there. You can talk to some like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans about many things up to and including Sonic T. Hedgehog. And if you want to support this show financially, we do appreciate it. You don't have to, but it does help it helps keep the lights on. Production and hosting costs offset by your generous donations. You can it's on Ko-fi. That's the place it is. We're Sonic Weekly. Throw something in the tip jar, or become one of our executive producers, just like PigDan, Pabsy, Sonikku, SavingThrows, and Belgarion. $5 a month, you get some exclusive stickers and whatever else we feel like throwing your way. It'll come to you. Magnets, yes, you can stick that to the fridge. That's what fridges are for. Once again, thanking our guests, Michael and Abby. Abby and Michael, they're a duo. I believe they were a singer-songwriting duo in the 1970s. One of them has a Kickstarter.
He's the mayor of Palm Springs.
That's true.
One of them has a Kickstarter, and the other has had a Kickstarter for one of his games, Tiny Barbarian DX, available on Switch and all gaming platforms. Also, other, I don't know, Michael, anything else you want to plug at the end? It'll be in the...
Yeah, I'm planning on drawing some Sonic fan art in the near future. So if you find me on Blue Sky, or maybe even Twitter, RVR67Michael, maybe you will see some Sonic art.
Link is in the description.
Hey, great.
That's right. And, as always, thank you, Grant, for your eternal patience.
Thank you, David, for your eternal patience.
I thought Michael did great, too.
Patience is eternal.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you, listener. Goodbye.